focused on you.
As we go on the air at 4, we are in a weather alert, bracing for a possible winter storm. This one bringing a mix of rain and snow. Right now, our storm tracker is on Highway 61, headed towards Troy, and you can see the windshield wipers are on, and you can almost see those little flakes hitting the windshield there as well. Thanks so much for being here at 4. I'm Kay Quinn. This is just the start of what will be a messy week of winter weather. We are in weather alert. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell tracking this system in the Weather First Weather Center. He's here with a timeline of what to expect. Scott?
Well, you know, it's coming in two phases, Kay, this storm is. The first hitting now into tonight, and eventually most of it, even in the areas that are seeing snow now, will end up with rain later tonight and into very early tomorrow morning. Then the second phase is for later tomorrow into tomorrow afternoon. In St. Charles right now, this, of course, is near Highway 94 and Highway 70. That's just rain there. But off to the west, it's snowing in Wentzville, snowing out in Wright City, starting to see it stick, especially the grassy surfaces as those temperatures drop back into the mid-30s. Lake St. Louis with some snow right now at 36 degrees. Baldwin's 36, so is Millstadt, and it's 39 in Cahokia Heights. As we look at the radar pictures here, you can see the moisture lifting into the region just west of St. Louis. That's where you get into western St. Charles County, Warren County, up into Lincoln County. That's where we're finding some snow. Would expect some of this area to the north, too, to get in on some of that snow. That would include parts of Calhoun, Jersey, and Greene counties, where winter weather advisories are in effect. Some snow mixed in. Combination of both here as we look down to the southwest of St. Louis. For the metro area, it's areas of rain sliding in. That's what it looks like out at Lambert right now. And again, we are talking about some snow starting to stick to the ground down in Cuba. You can actually see it there. It will soon in Moscow Mills. And then as you go farther to the north, Bowling Green has a pretty good coating. So we have rain and snow this evening. More snow to the north and west of St. Louis, 1 to 3 inches north and northwest, but most of us are going to change to rain by midnight. And then morning rain showers Tuesday with some snow by Tuesday evening. More on that in a few minutes, Kay.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Scott. You can stay up to date on all of our weather forecasts. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says he plans to put the U.S. Supreme Court on notice. He says if justices allow states to disqualify Donald Trump from the ballot, he'll boot President Biden from the ballot in Missouri. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, pressed Ashcroft to explain why. Mark?
Okay, good afternoon. The U.S. Supreme Court is right now considering efforts in Maine and Colorado and potentially from dozens of other states to disqualify President Trump under the insurrection clause of the Constitution. But Jay Ashcroft says, wait a minute, those courts haven't convicted Donald Trump of a crime. So he says there hasn't really been full due process here, not yet. Former President Trump does face several criminal charges in different states, including over his actions leading up to and on January 6th. We've seen some of those charges laid out under oath in the January 6th Select Committee. Separate venues, but same issue. Perhaps those same witnesses could testify against Trump in court, along with others who have already pleaded guilty. Ashcroft argues the Supreme Court cannot allow states to disqualify a candidate without that criminal conviction or finding of fact under due process. So I asked him, does he agree with President Trump's legal defense team that claims executive immunity shields Trump from criminal charges? Can a former president face criminal convictions for actions he took as president?
You know, there are differences of opinion on this. I do not believe that the U.S. Constitution specifically precludes that. If you look at the impeachment clause, I believe that it still does allow potentially for criminal charges against someone.
So Ashcroft indicated there he disagrees with President Trump's defense team that he may very well face legitimate criminal liability one day if a court can conclude a trial before an election. But the Iowa caucuses kicking off 1 week from tonight. By the way, there's a lot more. You can watch that full exchange in an extended interview on KSDK's YouTube page or under our politics tab on KSDK.com.
Thank you, Mark. We are just 1 week away from the Iowa caucuses, and presidential hopefuls are making their last pitches to voters. NBC's Chris Pallone has details.
With a week to go before the Iowa Republican caucuses, candidates are making their final pleas to any voters who are still undecided.
We're looking for candidates that love
this country.
It appears to be a race for second place, with polls consistently showing former President Donald Trump as the clear Iowa frontrunner. Former Governor Nikki Haley selling herself as a more stable alternative to Trump.
You don't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis pledging to press on regardless of what happens.
We certainly have a lot of road after that. And, we're girded for that long battle.
The frontrunner will be off the campaign trail tomorrow and back in a Washington, D.C. courtroom as his lawyers argue the former president can't be held responsible for efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
He made that same argument about immunity from civil lawsuits, and the D.C. Circuit told him that he was wrong.
Over the weekend, Mr. Trump once again downplayed the violent January 6, 2021 assault on the Capitol, calling the hundreds of people charged with crimes and convicted for taking part in it hostages.
They ought to release the J6 hostages. They've suffered enough. They ought to release them.
At a campaign event in South Carolina, President Biden warned the fate of the republic is on the ballot this year.
They tried to steal an election. Now they're trying to steal history, telling us that violent mob was, and I quote, a peaceful protest. And losers are taught to concede when they lose. And he's a loser.
The president's speech at Mother Emanuel Church, where a white supremacist killed 9 black worshipers in 2015, is part of a campaign push focused on preserving democracy and fighting the rise of extremism in America. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Right now, we're trying to learn more about 2 shootings that happened in East St. Louis. The first happened around 6:30 last night at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store on State Street. There, Illinois State Police found a man, 31-year-old Dantrell Smith, dead. Smith was shot, but police don't have a motive or suspect right now. Illinois State Police also responded to a shooting that happened just after midnight, this on Waverly and 36th Street. Police found a man there with a gunshot injury. He was taken to a nearby hospital. We do not know his condition right now. The 5 on Your Side team counted about 15 evidence markers in the street. Officers from East St. Louis and Caseyville Police were also there at the scene. We will keep you updated as we learn more about both shootings. New signs are up to warn people of the hazards of Coldwater Creek in North St. Louis County. A spokesperson with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers tells 5 on Your Side that signs warning people not to play, swim, or fish in the creek are now in public access areas. Additional signage is planned to inform those in the area about the removal of radioactive waste from the environment. The waste was left over from the effort to build the first atomic bomb during World War II. A major shift in the Israeli offensive in Gaza, where the military will now focus combat operations. Inflation continues to decline, what that means for those monthly Social Security checks.